Yo, people, what you telling me back again? Footy Talk saying Deluded in the building. What's good, fam?
Come on, my killie. There, man. Nice to be back, man.
Yeah, what you telling me, bro? What you telling me? What's been good?
Nothing, man. Just enjoying the kickabout with the boys last Sunday, Clean sheet and that, Like
Them man
the
there,
Arsenal
bro.
shit.
Yeah, still taking one game at a time, minute, bro.
One
The
game at a time.
usual
Don't check the league
nonsense,
table.
blood.
All of that
I
stuff,
hear,
man.
I hear that, bro. I hear that, man. Them doing the most right now, blood.
Listen,
Doing
life
the
will
most.
humble you if you don't remain humble. I'm keeping it humble. A victory against City is fantastic, but it don't mean nothing in the grand scheme of things if you don't see the job through, man, really. So shift towards Chelsea, bro.
No, it's facts. It doesn't mean too much, bro. I know that, blood. Like, bro, like we beat City quite often, and it gets us nowhere. You know, like that,
This
bro.
is it. This
So
is
did
it. This
Tottenham.
is it.
You know, like
And I don't
that, and
want to
it
look
gets
back
them
in May
nowhere.
like, oh yeah, we beat City, but man ain't got nothing to show for it.
No, it's true. The beat City trophy, yeah, it's not what it's all made out to be, blood. Trust me. Like I've been there many times, blood. I think under
Trust me.
social, I think we beat them 3 times in one season, bro, and didn't
See
win
what I'm saying?
anything.
We beat them
So
twice, but it don't mean anything. We know City win the war, and obviously on paper they probably got more points than last season. But we know City when it gets down to the business end, Pep Guardiola's a madman. They got quality players and whatnot, so it only matters in the business end, man. But it is a step in the right direction. It's still 12-1 on aggregate, but it shows that if you compete and believe in yourself, bro, the Etihad could be peak, bro. It could be peak, really and truly. But we'll deal with that then, innit? But yeah, as I was saying, it just shows that we can get through that mental block and compete. If you want to, win stuff, you need to beat the teams like City. And for me, the last few games against City, give or take, we've been half in it and it's been fine margins. And we're getting to that scenario where it's not necessarily about playing well, it's about getting 3 points. So it shows that it can be done, but we need to get to a stage as a club where we're not over the moon and up in arms and waffling and rambling about beating City. It should be business as usual, really.
no, 100%. If you want to win the league, these are the kind of games, especially at home, you should be going into thinking that you can win them. You
Yeah,
know,
you
like
have
that.
it.
You have
Yeah,
to.
you have it.
No, that's exactly it. It's just like, bro, when Man United were going after the title, bro, when Arsenal came to Old Trafford, that not for a second did I feel like we weren't beating them. And that's how it
This
should
is it.
be. You know them ones.
This
And
is
then
it.
when we come to Highbury, you man expect to beat us there. You know what I'm
This
saying?
is
Like you
it.
expect it. You know what I mean? Until you start expecting to beat every team at home, you can't really look at yourselves as champions, bro. You can't. It
You
doesn't
can't
make
look at
sense.
yourself as champions until May comes, 38 games played, and you're at the top. Simple as that, bro.
No, facts. Facts only. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, the Ivan Toney rumor mill's been coming out. I don't know if you saw the Balogun stuff though, what he said about Arteta.
He's like capping, man. About how it's all. It weren't. He said he liked me, and it was a club decision. I hear it, but if Arteta wanted you to stay, not that I didn't want you to stay. If Arteta wanted you to stay, you'd be there. I do think a bit of it is business as usual. As you know, Arsenal have been spending money, haven't really been getting significant monies in the club with selling players, and Balogun was an appreciating asset in it, so it made sense. I don't really think you're in his plans, give or take. Whether you're better than Eddie or Eddie's better than you, that's another debate. But it's Eddie, Kai Havertz, Martinelli, Trossard, obviously Jesus, all in front of you. I'm sure we're going to get onto Ivan Toney or just the topic of Arsenal needing a striker. So, Balogun, it
So
is what
what
it
you
is. I would
reckon
have
that the
loved for him.
manager kind of done the politics thing where it
A
was
hundred
like
percent, a
where it
hundred
was
percent.
like,
There's
you
a bit
know
of
what,
politics.
if I could keep you, I'd keep you, but like, you know
Yeah,
what I
but that's what
mean?
I'm saying, bro. I think it comes down to you're just not in my plans at this moment in time. Whether Balogun becomes a better player or not, he's barely played 90 minutes. He's barely played for Arsenal, so it is a decent little profit. As I said, I would have loved to have kept him. I wish he was. I wish we did the Chelsea thing where they have these young players under contract for a length of time because without all the other things, with Balogun wanting football and becoming an international footballer, I would have loved for him to be under contract so that he could actually go out on loan again. I didn't feel in the ideal world, it's give or take. You must make it this season that we're in now or whatnot. But yeah, you're right, man. Of course, there's a bit of political with Arteta. They probably told Arteta it's a means to an end. Obviously, Arteta's the manager. He's not a balanced man. So they probably said, if you want to do this, that, and the other, we need to think about money that can come into the club. And you've got Balogun. Monaco are not stupid. They know you come here, you score a couple of goals, we'll sell you back to this market, whether that's Arsenal, another Premier League team, or another European team. So it made sense, bro.
That's
Even
weird
though I
because
would have
it's
loved for him
like,
to stay.
yeah, but it's like obviously Eddie got the new deal, Eddie got the full
Yeah, you
year,
have it.
but why couldn't that be Balogun though? Because a lot of Arsenal fans think that he's better than Eddie. From what I've seen of him, he looks better than Eddie.
Yeah, but if you were Balogun, bro, would you sign a new deal? Because if I look at it, I wouldn't. Because one thing I rate about Balogun, he removes the romance from the situation. Like, of course, you know, you see a couple of your peers, the Haaland boys, Saka, all them man in the first team, we're doing this youngster thing. Obviously, you've gone on loan. You should believe in yourself. He's probably looked at it like, I would love to do that, but without romance, the club's moving shaky in terms of what I want to do. I need to do what I can so that 12 months from now, I'm a massively better player. And his move on loan was backed up. My man got called up for international football. Obviously, you know, we would love to do what he done. You're playing in a top division, scoring goals. It is what it is because the scheme of it is, and I wouldn't say Arteta's wrong, but and I'm sure you would do the same. If I was a manager, I would tell every young player, every lad under the sun, yeah, you're gonna stay, you're gonna play, you're gonna do this. Once you sign the new deal, it's not that I don't care, but I don't care if you make it here, great. Like so. I think our hands were kind of tied, really. I can't really put all the blame on Arteta and Balogun, but I think this is a scenario we're going to get at. And I'm sure your club's got a couple of young players and everybody else, and that it's almost impossible for these young players to break through. Everyone wants these young players to play, but when, you know, they play and they maybe in Balogun's case, he misses a 1v1 or a young defender makes mistakes, people don't care because at the end of the day, all they want week in, week out is 3 points. So it's a shame, but I like it with Balogun because the alternative could have been you sign a new deal and great, you get opportunities. But you could have signed a new deal, as we've seen with clubs a lot of the time. No one hears about you again, and you ultimately stagnate. So
Yeah, but this is the politics of football, and this is what
mad
people don't
politics.
understand. People don't understand the business of football. What could have happened to Balogun, yeah, happens to most of these young
Yeah,
players,
man.
bro. They get told by the club, listen, you're in our plans. They sign a new deal. Before you know it, they've been out on free loans. And
This
they
is
ain't
it.
been given an opportunity to even fight for their place. How can you fight for your place in the team if you're not even training with them,
This
bro?
is it. And also, you're right on that because sometimes it might not have nothing to do with Balogun, whether I rate Kai Havertz or not. And obviously, he's primarily played as a left-sided 8, but he can play as a 9. You have to justify spending 65 odd million pounds on a man. And the season before bringing in Jesus and actually giving Eddie the new deal. So this is where he's at with it, in my opinion. So that's where we're at, man. You're right. You said it there. The politics of football. That's what it comes down to more time, really. Only time will tell if Arsenal have made the best or worst decision, really. I would, as I said, I would have loved to have kept Balogun. I do think internally at Arsenal, probably overhyping him naturally when you're scoring all of these goals and doing things, you know, as we know, goals are what makes a striker, but the general play isn't quite there. And I'm not knocking Balogun. You're at the right stage that you're at. You built on your loan at Middlesbrough. You done your thing last year for Reims. And now, you know, I know he missed a couple penalties a couple weeks ago, but you're hitting the ground running at Monaco. And, you know, more success to you because you look at your club, Man United, going back a few years ago, not everybody made it at Man United, but you can always judge an academy of how you cut your teeth in the game.
Elsewhere,
And
yeah.
you had a couple of players that are playing at decent levels. So it is what it is from that point of view. For a man that's barely scratched the surface in the first team, sold for 30 odd million quid, it is what it is, really. Especially if we get another strike. I'm sure we'll talk about Toney then. It's not that I don't care, but I don't really care, really, if I'm honest.
But that's what I mean. Like, not everyone can make it, brother. Not everyone's supposed to. You know, like
This
that.
is
That's
it.
what these man don't realize. Yeah, that when I was on the come up, yeah, bro. When you saw Welbeck bust through at Man United, it was like raw, because we had one done. You know, like
This
that.
is it.
It weren't 5-6 man lining up to make
Sometimes
debuts
it's
and that. Like,
circumstantial, like you said
yeah.
there. Like you look at, obviously Saka's one that was always going to make it, but you look at when Saka and Smith Rowe were playing week in, week out, Arsenal was a mess. Like we was a mess. That's a byproduct as well. They got opportunities. Now we're looking half decent, and you've got 1-2 players. It's going to be harder for you. So sometimes it's a timing thing.
It's
Sometimes
supposed
the
to be
manager
harder
just
for you. If
likes you.
it's not harder for you, it means that your team's not where it's supposed to be.
Exactly. And then you look at Reece Nelson and Eddie Nketiah, you know, they've obviously found roles in the squad for them, but I don't know if they would be better. But where would you be if you left Arsenal sooner rather than later? You know, could you? Because if I'm Balogun, one thing I like, if I was a young player, dead man's kind of age, I'm trying to get as close and as quick as possible to 100 career appearances. Because for me, that tells me I'm a certified footballer. So I rate Balogun's approach to it, really.
That's what I'm saying. Man said Arsenal rejected 40 million bid for Smith Rowe, and the
When
thing
was
is,
that?
teams do all this all the time, bro. Because what they'll do is they'll reject a 40 million bid for Smith Rowe, even if Emil wants to go, and they'll say to him, "Listen, you're in the plans," and then they won't play him. That's what will happen. Because, bro, I
Yeah.
know, man, that's happened to, bro. At
I know
Arsenal
young players
under
that's happened
Wenger,
to.
and loads of different things. Do you know what I'm saying? It's happened like to a few of my guys where teams have come in big money for them. Team said, nah. You're in the plans, and then they don't play, and then what happens? Their contract runs down. Then by their man are without a club, and then
And then
before
you're
you know
robbed.
it,
And then you're
their man
robbed
are in
out.
Dubai training and that waiting for their agent to find something. When
Exactly.
3 years ago, their man could have gone and played full time somewhere, bro. And this is exactly what happens in football. It's a business for these guys. So when
Facts.
Balogun's saying, "Oh, the man them upstairs said that like the decision wasn't completely the manager's," it probably wasn't. They probably said to the manager, "Listen, you can keep him, but if you keep him, you can't have X, Y, Z."
Simple,
And my
exactly.
man had to
Like you
make a
said.
decision.
End of the day, it's the
Yo, keep
balance
him
sheet, innit?
Balogun.
Like,
Yeah.
it kills me to say it, as you know, but football's a business. Like, you've got to see the numbers, and man, see the numbers. There ain't too many players that Arsenal can get significant outgoings, or at least the players that don't have a future. Like, we would not obviously want to sell Odegaard, Saka, Saliba, etc. So it fully makes sense. It has to be done. And one thing I rate about young players more this generation, to a degree, you look at Musiala when he went to Bayern Munich, and Arsenal with Yunus Musa, even though we did everything we could do to keep him. They're not really listening to the promises of the players. Like, if I was a footballer, if I fail or I don't get to where I want to go, and let it be for me, innit? Like, if Balogun left Arsenal and it didn't work out, at least you could say you chose to do that, rather than you're listening to different voices. And you made a great point about agents. Sometimes it comes back down to agents. You also made a great point about, like, your brethren have been in situations. I know young players that have been in situations where they're young, 17, 18-year-old, they're shining, they're on the cusp of 21s, but because they won't sign a new deal or sign to an agency that the coach's brother has,
Yeah, they're
you're not
no
playing.
more.
Exactly. And then you'll see they leak it to the media. You've got a bad attitude. Obviously, fans are going to believe that. And the next thing you know, as you know, reputation sticks in football. If someone says you've got a bad attitude, you've got a bad attitude. You only need to see Paul Pogba. Like, the man's crucified for dancing throughout his career in this country when he was here. So football's a slimy game, man.
Bro,
Very slimy.
we've been seeing it. And the funny thing is, it's like, it gets romanticized by certain people, but they don't see the dark side of it. Like,
They don't, because they
you
can't,
would have
bro.
watched the Beckham documentary. You watched it already.
Yeah. I watched a piece of it. I'm at the
bro,
part where
he was
he's getting
saying
on to
that-
Victoria Beckham
bruv,
about lying
he
about
was
being middle
saying,
class or something.
He openly said that Scarlett Ferguson stopped talking to him, blood, because he didn't sign for the agent that he wanted him to sign for, blood.
You see
He
it.
got his own
You see it
agent,
because
bro.
them man back pockets. George
And
Graham.
people
back
overlook
pockets.
that. People overlook that, but slyly, yeah, that's fuckery, you know.
It is bro. It
You know
is
what
a
I mean?
fuckery.
Slightly,
It's
it's fuckery. It is fuckery. Like, man literally said, because he wanted to go with a different agent, and then obviously he got the Adidas thing, and he wanted to go more into the Brand Beckham thing. And like, bro, if you lot would have seen it, bro, like, Fergie stopped talking to man, bro. He said that
This is it.
he gave him like proper, like, cussed him out, bro.
And as
Like,
you know
because
yourself,
he didn't sign for his agent, bro. Like, and this is what
bro.
happens in football, bro. And that
It's
was
sad.
back then. So imagine what it's like
so it's
now.
worse now. And that's the thing. Like, obviously there are bad agents, but this is where people don't see when agents are crucified in the media. Why did we've 100% when Matisse was here, us three spoke about it. Why do you think them man there didn't like Mino, Ronaldo, and all of these guys, really? Because they know that they're gonna, obviously they're looking out for money, but they're gonna regulate for their client. Sometimes it comes down to the agent.
The players, bro. Looks after the players, and even Zlatan said it. When Zlatan done the thing with Piers Morgan, he said, "Listen, Mino was like a brother, like a father figure, like everything, bro. He looked after
Certified.
him. You know, like that." He said they used to sit down and say, "Yo, good cop, bad cop, innit? This is what we want. So you can do the bad man thing. Mino would do the bad man thing, and Zlatan would do the good thing." Or
And that's business.
They'd flip it. That's business. Do you know what I'm
'Cause
saying?
clubs
And
do the same thing.
It was all about getting the best deal for the player. And the thing is, what I tell people all the time, and I even had to tell some of my players as well at my futsal club, that there was one youth, and I said to him, I said, "Listen, I'm chatting to you, bro. Like, he's a Hackney youth. I'm from Harlesden." I said, "Bro, like, I get you. When I was your age, man must be out 19, 20. I was like, when I was your age, I never had an older that actually wanted to see me do well.
To
like
try and
that.
run game on, man.
Yeah,
And
like,
drop knowledge
I was
in that
navigating through this thing myself. Do you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, bro, outside of here, in this football, these men don't care about you, bro.
They're sharks,
Do you know?
bro.
They don't care about you. Like,
Don't
do you
care
know what
about
I mean?
you.
Man to man, I'll tell you, listen, bro, I'll give you the best advice here that I can give you based on my experiences and because I can relate to where you're at. But these men don't care, bro.
They
Like,
don't,
as soon
bro.
as you get injured, these men don't care about you. So when men are saying to you, yo, I can help you, nah, bro, these men are trying to help themselves.
Help
Do you know what I'm
themselves.
saying?
It's
and
so
this
ugly
is just
and
what it
beautiful.
is. Bro,
And you're right on
trying
that.
to help
Like,
themselves.
even when certain man sign with big agencies, they see, wow, like for example, man got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain when he's playing Trent, Grealish and that. Obviously, you got to look at it from a business point of view. If an agent's got all of them, man, from a business point of view, them man are keeping the lights on in his office. So they're not necessarily going to care about you. Nobody cares. Not a single agent, not a single club. And naturally, you know, agents are always going to try and get more money. Clubs are always going to try and underpay. So it's such an ugly and ruthless game in a way. It's beautiful, blood. And this is the problem, you know, with
100%.
footballers, bro. Look at you, both our clubs actually. How many times you look at Ashley Cole, you look at to a degree Tony Adams. I'm sure you got a bunch of examples. Man that have been at clubs, or especially Gary Neville coming through an academy. You get underpaid, you get underappreciated.
Of course you do.
Man get complacent and think, raw, because he's here and he's Mr. This and that. Bro, it's at the end of the day, it's a job. Any other walk of life, if you're being underpaid and you speak to your brethren or your family, they're going to tell you find another company, and you got to maximize earnings. And for me personally, I'm all for footballers getting what they want, really and truly, because they make the product. They've come from, like you said, the Hackneys, the Halsdens, wherever, really. You know,
career, bro.
This is it, bro.
It's a lot shorter career than management. You know, like that. These managers can manage for 20, 30 years. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, these footballers ain't playing for 30 years.
And not everyone can be coaches and that.
Bro, they're not even playing for 20 years. You know, like that. Most of these men ain't even getting a 20-year career. You can manage for 30 years, 40 years if you want. Like,
that's why I can't even blame some of them Chelsea, man, when they're signing eight odd year contracts. From a footballing perspective, sometimes it's shaky, but that's financial security. Man are chilling, bro. And at the end of the day,
look at Roy Hodgson, bro. He's in his 70s. Like,
this
is
what I'm saying.
You can't play into your 70s.
Look at this is what I'm saying, and football's a dirty game already. Look at the amount of things how amount of jobs Lampard's got. I love Jack Wilshere, but at the end of the day, he's 31. He became the academy gaffer without really an experience. Now he's being talked about going in America and Colorado Rapids. Imagine
and he can manage for the next 30 odd years if he wants.
This is it, bro. It's a gentleman's club. If you're in there, it's lit, but everyone's not afforded that luxury. It's peak. It's peak. Like my man said, you're either an asset or a liability. It's used 100%. Or be used.
And you look at Rooney now as well, got the Birmingham job of not really doing anything. You know, like that. He was at Derby, done the player manager thing, and then he went to America. I think that man finished bottom of the league, I think, but they didn't get relegated because you don't get relegated in America. And then 2-2s now. Yeah, man's on the Birmingham thing, bro. Yeah, it's crazy.
This is it, jolting. And then he'll get a Prem job. And I hope Rooney does well, you know. Obviously, from a neutral point of view, you love him as a footballer and that, but you don't have to prove anything in football nowadays. And obviously with a lot of fans don't know how to think in it. Obviously, a lot of fans can't see beyond their nose in it. So if players are being demonized and things, you're obviously going to get at the forefront. Not many fans know or simply care to wonder what are agents doing, what are clubs doing, what are owners doing, and the inner workings. And it's a sad game. It's sad in that sense, if I'm honest.
No, but this is why, it's like when you see a lot of these ex-players and stuff, like when they're doing their punditry, they're not speaking on the stuff that they actually have. They have the knowledge on, bro. They're talking the stuff they ain't got no knowledge on, right? The
and when they do speak on knowledge, it's PR stuff.
But that's what I mean, because these football players, most of them, bro, listen, they don't know more than the fans, bro. Like, they don't. You've seen these guys like the Graham Souness's and there sit down, and you can tell they're talking about players they've never watched play. You know, the ones like they don't know more than the fans. What they do know more than
buzzwords to describe football.
What they do know more than the fans about is the politics and the inside stuff that they don't want to talk about because they don't want to get blacklisted from the industry.
They don't want to draw out their veterans.
Yeah, they don't want to talk about the shady business.
It's no different from YouTube, really.
But that's it, bro. They don't want to talk about the shady business that gets done. I know for a fact there's managers that charge players appearance money. Do you know what I mean? There's this stuff that goes on. They don't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. Like, even the fact that people kind of look over. If you think, that David Beckham at Man United, look how many years ago that was. And my man saying that the gaffer was basically trying to control his personal life, didn't like the fact that he was dating who he was dating, wanted him to get married, but he wanted him to get married to a normal girl so he could settle down. He
didn't want him to get big for his boots, or quote-unquote bigger than the club or bigger than him.
Players to get married and have kids early because he can control them because he knows they'll be in the house. You know, like that. All them kind of things, people look at it as a positive. You're less likely to want to up and take your family wherever. Bruv, people look at it as a positive thing. But it's not positive, bro, because you're slyly bullying man into doing what you want, and if they don't do it, you're ostracizing them and making their life difficult. How are you switching on a man, because he didn't sign with your agency? But then you're going to say that you've got the player's best interest at heart when really you've got your own best interest at heart.
And that comes down to basic human nature.
The best interest of David Beckham was to do exactly what he done. Because he's the only one of the class of 92 that ain't got to work no more.
Exactly.
Keelan Scholes is still on Sky Sports. Gary Neville's still on Sky Sports. David Beckham don't need that. That's why David Beckham's the only one that can keep it 100 about Man United, yeah, because he don't need their money. And he don't need money from no one. David Beckham's self-made. He's got his own thing patterned. The rest of these men are still running around for money now because they didn't make enough in their playing career. Because while David Beckham was making sure that he had a life outside of football, these men were doing what the gaffer said.
This is it.
Do you know what I'm saying?
This is it. And now look. And the thing is, if you were to ask them privately, bro, they'll tell you the truth. They're just on screen. It's just a game that everyone's playing, bro. It's just the belly of the beast, man.